Hello, welcome to another Mega Minute. This is Pastor Tommy, and this week we're talking about a passage from the book of Matthew, chapter 22. It's known as the greatest commandment. So before we read the passage, here's what's happening. There's a group of Sadducees, a group of current leaders, who are trying to trick Jesus. They're asking him all these tough questions. And they asked him this question about a lady who gets married and her husband dies. Well, then she marries his guy's brother, and he dies. And then she gets married to the third brother, and the fourth, and fifth, and sixth, all the way to 7 brothers. And they're trying to trick Jesus by asking this question. They say, now when she gets to heaven, which one is she going to be with? Well, Jesus replied, look, there's no such thing as marriage in heaven. You see, in heaven, we're married to Jesus. The church is the bride, and he is the groom, and we get married to him. What he's really trying to tell them is no longer about a list of do's and don'ts, a list of laws. It's really about loving God, loving Jesus with everything you have. And a group of Pharisees come up next, and they ask him this question. They say, teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? So here it is, Matthew 22, verse 36 through 40. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. So what Jesus is trying to teach them, it's no longer about a long list of do's and don'ts and keeping the laws or you're going to get messed up. It's simply about loving God, loving Jesus with all our heart, our soul, and our mind. I've got some cards that help me keep these 3 key words in mind as I remember that we're supposed to love God, first of all, with all of our heart. So if you'll notice, that bottom card says heart. Let's take off the top card, also says heart. And of course, the middle card also says the word heart. And so when you think about loving God with all of our heart, that means loving more than we love anything else. More than our family, more than food, more than anything we think is fun. We're to love Jesus with all of our heart first. But that's not it. He says we're also supposed to love him with all of our mind. So all of our thought life, everything we think about, we're to love him with our mind. Now, the bottom card said mind, but that one also says mind. And if we pulled out that middle card, yeah, you guessed it, it also says the word mind. But he doesn't stop there, right? The word in the middle, he says love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and your mind. When I think of the word soul, I think about eternity. I think about living forever. We're all going to live forever. It's just a matter of where we're going to live. Are we going to be with him, or are we going to be separated? But you guessed it, that bottom card says soul. Top card also says soul. And yes, the middle card also says the word soul. So these are 3 things that Jesus says, this is what we're supposed to do. It's no longer about keeping a list of do's and don'ts and keeping the law exact or you're going to get messed up or zapped. He said, no, it's simply about loving God first with all of our heart, with all of our soul, and with all of our mind. And if we can do these things, that's keeping the greatest commandment. Hope you enjoy memorizing this mega passage. Thanks again for joining us here on another Mega Minute. Hope to see you next time and do your best to live it out.